Welcome to What's Going On. I'm your host, Angela Bozorth. It's hard to believe it's Halloween 2013. For those of you who were lucky enough to catch our Halloween special last year, we couldn't disappoint you. We're at it again. So for those of you who are fans of ghosts, goblins, of all things scary, tonight is the night when the veil between the living and the dead is thinnest. So sit back, relax, and find out what we have in store for you. So, guess what? Trick or treat.
Welcome back to this special show here on What's Going On, and I am so lucky to have as my illustrious next guest here at the world-famous Cocoa Village Playhouse, Dr. Anastasia Hawkins-Smith, the Executive Director. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Angela. We're so happy that you came to visit us today.
Okay. And again, with this being a Halloween show, initially we had come because this is one of the places that is listed. But rather than just speak about things about Halloween, although you did have a very successful Young Frankenstein production, we want to talk about this beautiful historic gem that sits right here in the heart of historic downtown Cocoa Village.
Well, and there's so much history within our walls because the theater was built in 1924. And we are on the National Register of Historic Places, and we are members of the League of American Historic Theaters. And when you say the special show, we have had our share of haunted happenings, and you just missed the closing of Young Frankenstein. So we aren't sure if it was haunted or if we were just having a lot of fun.
Right.
But either way, what a wonderful time of year Halloween is. And I'm so glad that you came by because we're in rehearsal for Oliver, which is opening soon.
Well, thank you so much for having us again here on What's Going On. This is getting ready to start our 7th season, and I have been to the famous Porsche House, which is right around the corner, literally.
Yes.
But while I have been lucky enough to see many of your performances, I haven't gotten a chance to focus, and so let's just talk a little bit about the productions. For instance, Oliver coming up.
Sure. And what we offer here is called Broadway on Brevard because we're located at 300 Brevard Avenue. And our Broadway on Brevard series offers musical productions that are performed by volunteers. So we would love for the listeners to visit us online at cocoavillageplayhouse.com and see all of the upcoming auditions because we will train you. People don't believe that, but we do. And the cast in rehearsal for Oliver is slated to open November 22nd. And it's a wonderful family show. And coming right after the show opens are auditions for The Music Man, which is another great show with a lot of family roles. But Broadway on Brevard also has another group of shows called the Broadway Bonus Shows. And those are individual artists that are featured throughout the year. And we have so many. Again, you can visit them all online. We're very excited about our year coming up. And the reason why I'm called Drama Mama most of the time is that our Stars of Tomorrow are based here at the Playhouse. And that's a program for youth ages 7 through high school graduation. And they present 6 different shows also through the year. So we are very busy, very busy.
And it is absolutely amazing. Again, as I was sharing before we began taping, I was lucky enough to see a wonderful first-rate production of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so I wondered how many people, to borrow from Hillary Clinton, it takes a village, how many people does it take to put on one of your world-class productions here?
Well, it does. It takes at least 125 people at least to present a show such as Young Frankenstein, which is what we just did. And out of those, 51 of them are the performers. The remaining people are production people, designers, musicians, people sewing costumes. We pride ourselves in building everything and making everything. And the Playhouse is not, yes, we're a community theater because we serve our community and the people on stage are from our community, but it is a very special place. And it was named Broadway on Brevard by our audiences. As you said, the production you saw that you really enjoyed, it's named that by our audiences. So we hope that our audiences, that your listeners will come and join us and see what's happening in Cocoa Village.
Absolutely. We here in Brevard County, that's one of the things culturally we are not suffering in any way here. We are very fortunate here in Brevard County, from Titusville all the way down Melbourne, and of course right here, Cocoa Village, kind of in the middle. There are wonderful groups of various production places such as Cocoa Village, the Henniker Center. Titusville has wonderful productions, and so the quality is astounding that people have the ability to see.
Our community is very rich in the arts and very blessed to have so many wonderful artists, and also the King Center for the Performing Arts, the professional house in Brevard County, and that's great, and the symphony that's housed there, Brevard Symphony, it's just, wonderful. We're very blessed in our community. At the Playhouse, we work hard to keep everything affordable. The tickets start at $18 and they range up to $32, and we just, hope that every moment that you're here, you'll know that we gave our best, and you will feel that you really got your money's worth, so to speak.
And speaking of actually giving it your best, I understand that here in the last couple of years, this historic Cocoa Village Playhouse has undergone renovation.
Yes.
And it's absolutely stunning, just absolutely beautiful. It gives you the feeling of being in a world-class opera house. So that live feeling for a real production. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it took us 23 years, but the past 15 years, we actively worked to raise the funds and design the design, which the original renderings were by Ian Cook, and then the architects of the project were Rood and Zwick Architects and Association. The City of Cocoa owns the building, and we're partnered with them, and we worked very hard with them to make the building as close to what it would be in 1924. But it's very functional, Angela. Underneath us right now is an orchestra pit designed for 30 musicians in air-conditioned comfort, and it's very, very functional. So we're very happy about that.
We are very happy as well, everyone out in Brevard County. So real quickly, as we wind up, please let our viewers know how they can find out more about coming to see your production of Oliver.
Well, we ask you to visit us online at CocoaVillagePlayhouse.com. You can purchase tickets right there from your home. You can also see all of the events remaining in our year, as well as audition dates. You may call the box office, 636-5050. That's area code 321-636-5050 for more information also. And we invite you to join us. You won't regret it. And this is your historic theater in downtown Cocoa Village.
Well, Dr. Anastasia Hawkins-Smith, thank you so much for allowing me to come in and view this beautiful Cocoa Village Playhouse.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to this special Halloween edition of What's Going On. My next guest is a renowned psychic reader and advisor right here in Melbourne, Florida, Psychic Doris. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay. We're surrounded in your space.
Absolutely, my office.
In your office with so many of the I guess tools of the trade, including the crystal ball.
The crystal ball, tarot cards, palms, all kinds of tools that you take to read from. Exactly. Yeah.
And so I wanted to just start out quickly with psychic. What exactly is psychic or clairvoyant, and are they interchangeable? Do they basically mean the same thing?
They basically do mean the same thing. Psychic, clairvoyant, it's all the ability to see. It's all the ability to look forward and to look into the future. And basically, they interchange with one another. They mean the same thing. They're just, put in two different fashions. But absolutely, they mean the same thing. They mean to be able to have the ability to see into the future. So both of them do.
And so now you are a psychic reader, advisor, and spiritualist.
Yes, I am.
And so
Absolutely.
This is something that it's not a traditional career path in that it's something that you were born with?
Absolutely. It's not a traditional career path. Yes, it was something that I was born with. It is a gift, okay? I do feel that I have the ability to foresee. I've been doing this for quite some time now, over 30 years, okay? I've been located in this location that you actually see me. I've been here 20 years already. So I do feel that it's an ability, it's a gift, and I do use it to the best knowledge that I possibly can. So yeah, I do feel that I was born with the ability and the gift to foresee.
And so among the talents, in addition to prophecy, foreseeing in the future, what are some of the other things that we hear about as far as viewing into the past and past life regression?
Past life regressions. There's so many things you can view into the past of past life regressions. How many past lives have you had? Let's say if it was you, maybe you've had 10 past lives or 12 past lives, okay? Or someone else could have 20 past lives. It just depends on the individual. It depends on the person. And it depends how many times their spirit has reincarnated, okay? And how many times they have reincarnated or been reborn again to live on into another world or another time or another century, and how many past lives has followed them. So it just depends on your soul, your spirit, how many times it's been reborn. So the past life, and then, if you can do that, you can do a past life reading. You can do something very simple, character reading, which will basically tell you about yourself and people surrounding you and characteristics, something like that. And those could be done whether it's tarot cards or palm, or just me sitting here and reading you and looking at you and telling you what I see. It just depends what level you want to be at. There's such thing as reading the chakras or the energy or the aura and telling you what color the aura is, how bright it is, what level is that, how much negative or positive is flowing from it, and what does your color mean. Your chakras, it will also tell you what levels they're at and how strong they are. So there's many different things that connect into the spiritual world and that connect into the psychic ability of readers and advisors. So it's not just one.
And now with this being the Halloween season,
Absolutely.
is one of your abilities the ability to connect with spirits on the other side?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's even when it's not Halloween. There's many people that I get in that want to connect to a loved one or someone that has passed on or need to get a message to them, or maybe something was not spoken before they've passed on. So absolutely. And it's called channeling to someone that has passed on. So yes, absolutely. I do channeling. And at this time, absolutely people want to connect. It's not quite like a seance. It's a private one-on-one thing, or maybe 2 or 3 people. And it's about channeling with their loved one that has passed on to see if there's a message or anything that they can come back and forth to.
Mm-hmm. And now when you connect with the energy, especially around the Halloween season, that is when the veils between this world and the next are supposed to be thinner.
Yes, they actually are. They're thinner, and you can make a clearer adjustment, and you can actually make a connection better when it's actually thinner between the world that we've passed on to and the world that we live in now. So yes, actually the veil is thinner and the connection is more stronger, okay? So this time of year, because things seem to peak, and it peaks at our time and their time, to let the connection be more clearer. So absolutely, this is probably the best time for that, okay? And not a lot of people know that, okay? But it's definitely information that needs to be out there. So if someone does want to contact a loved one or someone that has passed on or need to connect with them, this is a good time. This is a good month to do this in.
In general, do spirits who have passed on, do they like to be connected back and forth, or do they?
Some do. I'm not going to sit here and say that all do, because some do and some doesn't, you know. And on top of that, they have to feel comfortable with who they're connecting with, because they actually have to be introduced to me and connect with me. And it's sometimes, you know, you're a stranger to them, and they have to be felt that they're in a comfort zone, that they can reveal things to you. So some do. They like to connect. They like to chat. They want to be reinforced. Some bring others from another side. They make a connection, okay? And then there's some that just don't want to be connected. They just don't want to come out of that. And that's understandable. You're going to have all kinds, especially when you're dealing with the hereafter, you know, world, which is very different.
And speaking of that, obviously Halloween is a wonderful time of year, and you know, we want to you know, encourage people to enjoy themselves. However, there's a very serious, reverent side to it as well.
Absolutely.
That is, I guess my concern is that you do not want to tap into any potential dark spirits, and have you had that in your career, run across any kind of dark energy or whatever? And what's
I absolutely have. I mean, I've run across that several times. You know, it's part of the work. It's part of what I do. It's what would be strange and unusual to you is an everyday experience of what I may go through. Okay?
And how do you protect yourself from that?
Well, I protect myself because I work through light and energy, and I'm a positive person, and I do not fear that. So there's no way to fear that. I don't fear the unknown. I don't fear entities or negative energy. And to fear it is to give it power. So, and a lot of people are frightened of the unknown, or frightened of spirits that has passed on, or negative entities. And to be frightened of something is to give it power. So, yes, and you have to understand, at this time, yes, it's not just about candy and having fun. And there's a lot of people that believe at this time that they want to contact the dead, or they want to make a connection to another world, or a negative world, or a negative spirit. Some people find that exciting or fun, you know, and it's not anything that you want to kind of play with. It could be a very negative thing for you. It could be it could open a threshold or a window to a negative side, which could be very negative for you.
Especially, I'm thinking of young people, maybe not necessarily children, but preteens, teens, and young adults, with sometimes the music, the movies, you know, television shows, even some of the games that people play. A lot of times are based kind of in a supernatural world. So again, there is a reality. And so what are some of your tips? I think you had mentioned Ouija boards and things like that.
People get infatuated with it, okay, of the unknown. And it's only your infatuation that wants to take you there. And I understand that. Ouija boards are you know, they're not a game. They have open doors or thresholds or windows to a negative energy, and I've never really seen a positive energy come out of it. So it's something you want to really be aware of, okay? And if you own it, it belongs to you, and it opens up this threshold. And I've seen many people come to me and say they've played with a Ouija board, they believe that something negative is following them. So it's not something you want to play with. Ouija boards, tarot cards, people simply think if they buy them and shuffle them out, it's not all about that. It's about respecting it, understanding it. They're not a toy, so they are very strong to know that. Okay.
As we wind up, I guess what would be like I guess a typical person that comes in, if there is a typical person?
A typical person that would come in is mainly going to want to do a palm reading or a tarot card reading. Some people come for fun. A typical person would be someone that maybe has a relationship problem, or a decision to make on job or work, or maybe they're feeling spiritually lost right now, or spiritually confused right now and need some advice. those are typical people that you get in this line of work and that you see every day, or that maybe just needs to understand about crystals or oils or incense or candles and how they work and what benefits their life and spirit. So.
Well, Doris, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to come in and educate myself and the viewers real quickly. Where are you located and how can people get in touch with you?
I'm located in Melbourne at 1821 South Harbor City Boulevard in Melbourne, Florida, on the corner of 192 and US 1. Phone number is 321-727-7734. And I'm usually here Monday through Friday and on Saturday from 11 till 4. So anytime anybody wants to reach me. And I really enjoy talking with you and meeting with you. And I enjoyed this.
Oh,
Okay?
thank you.
You're so welcome.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more of the show. Welcome back to our Halloween edition of What's Going On. My next guest is Chad Talley. He is the founding member of the Space Coast Paranormal Society. Thank you so much for joining me today, Chad.
No problem.
So tell me and the audience what first attracted you to the paranormal.
See, when I was about 7, I lived in Palm Bay, and that's when I first started experiencing stuff myself. Doors would kick open. My most vivid memory is I was sitting watching TV and all the actual drawers on my thing pulled out. So I went to my mom, and instead of dispelling it and saying, oh, the ghosts aren't real, she actually gave me books to read saying they're real, they're always around you, here, read this, and it'll give you a better understanding of it. And from there, moving around, we lived in Europe for years and seeing all that stuff and all that history. I came back here and I wanted to join a group and couldn't find anyone local, so I started my own group.
And so you started the Space Coast Paranormal Society. What year did you start that group?
2008.
Okay. And about how many members do you have here as of 2013?
Probably around 12, and it's steadily growing.
Okay. And so, do you remember your first case here in Brevard County or the Space Coast?
It took us a while to get a real good case. We did Ashley's, the typical one that anybody starting out here usually does. We did the Italian Club out in Ybor. We got some good stuff there, and then a lot of the stuff that we do is residential.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, on an average year, like so far, this nearing the end of 2013, about how many cases does your organization take on a year investigating?
It comes in waves. Some months we'll have 2 and 3. Other months, like August, we had 2 every week, and it's pretty crazy, especially with all that review you have to do. I'd say a year, maybe 100.
Wow.
We get quite a few.
Mm-hmm. So more than people would think.
Yeah.
And usually it's not people just joking around. They're very serious. Mm-hmm. And so what is a typical investigation like? Kind of walk us through what your protocol is when someone calls up that they've got some kind of an entity in their house.
What we'll do is we'll come out, we'll have all of our EMF meters, our K2s, our thermometers. We'll set up our cameras based on where they tell us the activity is. They say, door's open here, or I feel like I'm being watched here. We'll set up our cameras facing that. We'll go through and we'll try and find natural causes for stuff, try and debunk it. Like people say they feel like they're being watched in the kitchen. Typical kitchen puts out a lot of EMF. And if you're sensitive to that, it'll make you feel like you're being watched, and it can even cause hallucinations. So we'll try and debunk everything first, and what we can't debunk is when we're left with paranormal.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that first off, you view yourself as a scientist? Like
we have a more scientific approach, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what is the most common complaint that you have with people that call?
A lot of it's feeling they're being watched. Lately it's been feeling they're being touched and moved and things being misplaced. Most recently, we get a lot of shadow people.
Mm-hmm. And right before we began taping right now, we had begun to discuss the shadow people. So for the members of our audience that maybe have not heard of this, because it's a relatively, I don't know if it's a new term in the supernatural pantheon, but otherwise, what does it mean to you in the paranormal investigating world?
To me, if somebody says, oh, I have a shadow person, and I keep seeing them, my personal belief is that they were never human. Typically, they're not friendly. The ones that I've encountered anyway weren't friendly. And they're not easy to get rid of. Mm-hmm. We've blessed the house and smudged the house, and after quite a bit of effort, they finally go away.
And So there is a difference between shadow people, even though they're called people, and ghosts. Whereas, what are ghosts or spirits? There's a couple of different theories of what they are. Some people believe there's like time loops that you're seeing kind of a reenactment. Other people, most people I think believe it's the departed. So what's been your experience professionally?
My experience, there's different types of hauntings. There's the intelligent haunting, which it's there, it knows you're there, and it's trying to interact with you. There's the residual, which we encounter a lot of. That's more like, oh, something happens every day at 2 in the morning. That's more residual, and you can try and interact with it, but you're not going to have much luck because it's like a DVD on repeat. It's just going to keep doing its loop.
It's almost like you say, a time loop almost that you happen to be witnessing.
And the intelligent ones, I mean, my personal belief is that they're departed, and they're trying to interact with you, and with our equipment, we can actually interact and have conversations.
And so now, what is the difference between a ghost or a spirit from a dearly departed, a human who has passed on, and demonic forces?
A human, they're typically not bad. I mean, they're not really violent. You get the occasional one. It's like if their grave's been vandalized, they're more vengeful. Demonic, like I was telling you earlier, I don't typically believe in the typical definition of a demon. I believe in elementals, which is their elemental energy. They were never human. They're not all bad, but a good chunk of them are. A lot of them are neutral. Some of them are good. But the ones that are bad are really bad, and they're really tough to get rid of.
And so, so between ghosts and elemental dark forces, are most calls overwhelmingly the ghosts?
Right. I mean, we very, very rarely encounter something that most people classify as a demon. I think we've had 2 in all the years that we've been doing this.
There's so much we can talk about. Finally, what if someone has something in their house? How can they get in touch with you? I mean, and your organization, because I could talk to you all day. So
they can reach us at our website, which is thescps.com, or they can go on the Facebook and it's just look up the Space Coast Paranormal Society. Will pop up, and my number is also on there. They can just call my number or shoot me an email.
Okay, well, Chad Talley, thank you so much for all this information. It's especially helpful this time of year.
All right, thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more of this special Halloween edition of What's Going On.
Well, that wraps up another edition of What's Going On, and that wraps up another edition of our special Halloween show. Well, you have a safe and happy Halloween, and I'll see you next time. This is Angela Bozorth. Happy Halloween.